The other day, my mom found this picture of me helping out my church when they were spreading pine needles, and I want to give you guys 5 seconds to see what is wrong with this picture. Alright, zoom in. Zoom in a little closer. There. That right there are Sonic and Shadow plushies. Yes, I love Sonic so much that I couldn't even help anyone out without bringing my 2 plushies. Hi, I'm SpeedTurtles, and in this video we're going to be ranking all of the mainline Sonic games from my least favorite to my favorite. And stay tuned to the end for a few channel announcements. The games I'll be covering are Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic 3, and Knuckles, which I'm including into one game, Sonic 4, Sonic 4 Part 2, Sonic Mania, Sonic Superstars, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Rush Adventure, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, Shadow Generations, Sonic Forces, and Sonic Frontiers. And if I missed anything, of course, I'll just tell you right now. So without further ado, let's get into all the mainline Sonic games ranked from worst to best.
My many minds, my heart doesn't always agree. What I'm thinking inside.
Now in last place is a game that not many people actually believe is a mainline game, but I have to disagree. I think it is. And the game is Sonic 3D Blast. This game is extremely boring and takes away what Sonic does best: go fast. Collecting all the flickies and everything just makes me so tired and exhausted. And you know that feeling that you get when you're doing homework? That's what this reminds me of. That sort of, ugh, do I have to do this? It's just not a fun game at all. The second least favorite game that I have is Sonic Lost World. Let me fill you in on a situation for me personally. I never had a Wii U growing up. Still don't. And I know you have to have that to enjoy the full possibilities of this game. Me personally, I've watched a ton of videos and done a ton of research, and it just doesn't seem that different. I did have Sonic Lost World, but on the 3DS, and I know it takes away a lot of the certain gimmicks that it had, but really, let's be honest here, the game's not that good at its full potential. In my opinion, the Deadly Six are just not threatening enemies, and they really just seem annoying. The worst part about this game for me is the same problem that I have with the Sonic movies. Do I really like this iteration of Sonic? Like movie Sonic, for example. He's probably my least favorite characters, not counting the humans, of the Sonic movies. Corny phrases like,
Konnichiwa?
just get me so mad and annoyed that they ruined one of my favorite characters. A character who was treated with respect in the 90s for his edginess and coolness. Some of Sonic's lines in this game are really good, like this one here.
The last time we met, you ruined my nail art. Now I have to reapply a whole new coat.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? I am so sorry.
Oh, well, in that case...
Oh no, what I meant to say is, I'm so sorry that you have nothing more important to do in life.
But personally, I just think it was bad writing to make Sonic leave his best friend over Eggman, knowing that Eggman is his archenemy. Tails does get a Mega Man type gun in this game when he gets like roboticized kind of, but then he's not. Another reason why the plot doesn't make sense. And that is a cool design, but let's be honest, he got it better in the cyborg design from the Sonic X DC comics. A very popular opinion is that Sega just decided to copy Mario Galaxy. And Mario Hot Take, I don't even like that game.
Shut up!
And please do not unsubscribe. Those games are just not for me. Not saying that they're bad, they're just not my favorite. And personally, do I believe that they copied Mario Galaxy? I don't think so, because Mario Galaxy came out on the Wii, and that came out on the Wii U. If they wanted to copy it, I think they'd come out with that game a little bit closer to time when that type of game is more popular. So I don't really think they copied them at all. Let's move on to the next one, which is Sonic 4 Part 1. We all believe that Sonic Mania is the true return of classic Sonic, but most Sonic fans know that they tried to bring the style back in 2010 with this horrible game. Now, I know some people are going to be a little upset that I put this game over Lost World, but this is my list, so if you have something different, tell me down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Now, specifically, I'm talking about Part 1. Believe it or not, in my opinion, Part 2 actually does some things better. A lot of Part 1 just looks like Sonic was made out of some sort of Play-Doh high-quality render. It just doesn't look good to me. The worst part about this game is that it's so bland that I don't really have anything to talk to you about. So, let's just move on to the next one, which is Sonic 4 Part 2. I know it seems dry and unoriginal that I put these games beside each other, but I'm sorry. There's just some bangers on this list. This game added the Tails team-up ability, which was pretty cool. And also, you got a Metal Sonic story once you beat it. And I love Metal Sonic. I mean, as you can see here, I have him in this classic rendition, which is just awesome. And I'm looking for the modern variant. But y'all didn't come here for a figure rant. If you want a tour of my figure shelf, comment down below. I'd love to show you. Anyways, I'm just saying, sometimes I kind of think it's fun when you team up with Tails and crash through different things. I just think that that's a pretty cool twist to the classic Sonic and Tails team-up. This next pick is actually going to make a few people mad. And I'm sorry to put this here, but the game is Sonic 1. Don't get me wrong. This game is not bad in any way, shape, or form. It's classic. If we didn't have that, we'd have nothing. And the more I think about it, I'd have a lot more money in my pocket, and a lot less people would think I'm weird.
What?
Anyways, this game revolutionized 16-bit gaming and honestly is better than Mario World, and I will fight anyone on that. Just a few things about this game really makes me mad. Like, you cannot tell me that you had fun playing the boss in Labyrinth Zone. And I know that it gives a little bit of a challenge to the game, but resetting every time you die is just hard. And I know a lot of my 90s gamers are going to call me a Gen Z easy gamer because I'm used to getting reset to the level that I was already on, but see where I'm coming from here. Because if that was the case, this game would be a lot higher because it has no spin dash. If you didn't know, spin dash was actually introduced in the second Sonic game, and they've revamped the game several times, adding the spin dash into the game, such as the Origins and the Sega Genesis collections on the Xbox, PS3, and the mini collections and the Switches. They re-released these games a lot, and they gave them a spin dash, but I just think I'm basing this on the original, and the spin dash just gives you so much more momentum, and I know that's a trigger word in the Sonic community. My next pick is actually a controversial topic, and that is Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, before you become Shadow and pull a gun out on me, I'm going to tell you about this one thing. Shadow is my favorite character of fiction of all time. When I was a kid, I used to read these choose-your-own-adventure books, and I had so much fun doing that. That's kind of what Shadow is, just a lot more edgier. The reason why it's so low is because of that word, edgy. I feel like sometimes they swear because they think it's cool, and they has a gun just because they think it's cool. You know, that sort of early 2000s older brother type is just what they kind of made Shadow, and a lot of times it comes off kind of corny. But the music in this game, whew, just blows me away. Everyone knows that Crush 40 makes a lot of the Sonic music, but take a listen to this one that's not by Crush 40. This song is The Chosen One by Danny Parker and Kyle Kinderling, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. It's actually a banger, and believe it or not, it's a replacement to the song that was actually a little bit darker, so they replaced it, and this one is a little bit more higher tone. This is another one of those games that I just have never played before. I've seen it at my local retro video game store, but I just don't believe that $50 is the best price to pay for a game that's honestly kind of broken in some aspects. This is where Sonic starts to get the opening animations to slap, like the one that you'll see later down the line. As a kid, I remember watching the whole, Sonic on the ground and then Shadow standing over him and thinking that that was the toughest thing in the world. And since I still don't have this game to this day, I have this aspect of mystery and there's some stuff to discover. But on to my next game, which is Sonic Colors. As you saw in my little opening, I do not have Sonic Colors for the Wii, but I used to. I am someone who actually believes that Sonic Colors, the original, is better than Sonic Colors Ultimate. So, like I mentioned earlier with Sonic 1, I will be basing it off of that one. I just used the Ultimate because it was like a stand-in for that game. But what do I actually think about this game? I think it's okay. But this one actually has a worse problem with Sonic than Lost World, and that is he's so corny. And I don't blame Roger Craig Smith. It's not his fault at all. I'm someone who believes that Roger Craig Smith's Sonic is the downfall of the writing, not his actual performance. The game itself relies on the wisps, and I'm not a big wisp fan, but I don't hate them. Sorry to keep bringing up Sonic X DC, but it's still on my mind from my last video. It was so cool to see Green Lantern use the wisp, and that opening cutscene is amazing. But some of the gameplay is just not my favorite. And I know for a fact that this next one might make you guys unsubscribe. So, I'm begging you, please stay. My next game is Sonic Forces. Yes, the game is not good. It's not a good game. Something I have about this game is something that probably not a lot of Sonic fans have about this game, and that is a sentimental value. I want to take you on a little road trip back to 2017. Good times, right? But this story starts in an unlikely place. I was wearing my Sonic hat into a Lowe's hardware, and a Lowe's employee comes up to me and says, "Hey buddy, nice hat." Oh, I loved Sonic when I was a kid. I used to play it all the time. Have you heard about that new game? At that point in time, I didn't have a phone, so I didn't hear about it. And I said, "No, what new game?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't remember what it's called, but it looks pretty good." So, as soon as I got home, I went on my TV, believe it or not, and looked on YouTube, and there it was, Sonic Forces. Now, you cannot tell me that the Sonic Forces trailer did not look fire. Anyways, when we all saw classic Sonic return, I was so hyped because I like Generations. I was so hyped for this game, couldn't stop watching the trailer. Watching people speculate about the game and different stuff like that, people thought that it was actually gonna be good. So, Christmas 2017, and shout out to you, Graham, if you're watching, and I kind of liked it. I was younger then, and seeing that I got to choose my own character and make him was so cool. Looking back now, I realize that it's just kind of broken. I'm a big fan of looking at Sonic's renders, and I like to draw, so I can look at these renders and put on a piece of paper my favorite version. This is one of my least favorite versions of Sonic. His spikes are too short, and he's too fat, and his shoes are too blocky. It's horrible. Classic Sonic is the slowest we've ever seen him, and the game's broken. They cheaped out on a lot of the cutscenes and just made the characters talking heads and just blink to make sure we have emotion. I know I said I don't think Roger Craig Smith's the bad guy, but a lot of the lines, not just from him, but from all the voice actors, were kind of flat. And if you go back to one of my videos, I talk about my top 5 favorite Sonic villains that are not Eggman, and actually Infinite's on there. I feel like his story, that how he was a good guy and then turned bad, is just so good, and they just wasted it on a bad game. I mean, his design is so cool, and the Phantom Ruby is an interesting concept. I'm not a speedrunner by any means, but I decided to speedrun this game, and my personal time was 59 minutes. Because of one thing, the boost. You can easily boost through this whole game to the point where Sonic can fly because of how much he boosts. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not a professional gamer. Sometimes I get stuck on bosses that other people think is easy. I don't mean this with any pride, but those bosses are so easy. So that's all I have to say about Sonic Forces. Let's move on to the next game, which is Sonic CD. This game also has a sentimental value for me because it was the first Sonic game that I ever beat. And not many people know this. It actually takes a second spot in the timeline. So it goes Sonic 1, Sonic CD, Sonic 2, then Sonic 3, then Sonic and Knuckles. Which in this video, like I said, I'm mashing into one game. Yes, it has a few things that hold it back, such as Sonic's sprite is the same one as Sonic 1. Sometimes when you want to go to the past or future, you just can't get enough momentum. But something about this game has some sort of charm. Take a look at some of the concept art. That just looks so different and cool. And that opening scene, oh, it's peak. It's so peak. The opening and closing scenes are more beautifully animated than some of the stuff that Disney's putting out in 2020. And as a big Back to the Future fan, it was so cool. And don't forget about the sprite where Sonic's legs make an infinity. That is such an awesome stylistic choice. Things like the game is too short and stuff like that kind of hinder the rating down a bit. So, let's move on to my next game, which is Sonic Heroes. I want to be honest with you guys. I received this game when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I still haven't beaten it. I've gotten through all the team stories, but there's just that one thing that makes me a little upset, and that is the Chaos Emeralds. I have a few, but I don't have all 7. Because who designed that special stage? It's a worse version from Sonic 2. Don't get me started on some of them levels. I'm embarrassed to admit that I spent 30 minutes on the Team Dark Mystic Mansion level. Not to keep bringing out my Sonic merchandise, but I'm a pretty big Team Chaotix fan, and I just wanted to bring these out to show you. Espio is probably one of my top 5 favorite characters, but them in this game, They're my worst enemy. Hated looking for things in this game. I can't tell you how many YouTube tutorials I had to use. Whether it was finding keys or crabs, it was just dumb. And Charmy was annoying. Another thing that I had a problem with this game is the fact that, at least this is what I think, and I could be wrong, I could just be trash, but it's happened on several occasions. I do things on my GameCube controller, and it just doesn't register in the game. You might be saying, oh, you have a bad GameCube controller. It works fine on every other game I have. And really clanky. A lot of times my camera wouldn't work. So that's my 2 cents about Sonic Heroes. Let's move on to the next game, which is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If we were having a sprite competition between the first 4 mainline games, this guy would win. But it's not a perfect game. You can't talk about Sonic 3 without addressing the fan-wide debate, and that is Hydrocity or Hydro City. It's Hydro City! Why would something be called Hydrocity? That don't even sound right. The city consists of water. Hydro City. Like in Spider-Man. The villain is Hydro Man, not Hydra Man. Anyways, few takeaways from this game is Carnival Night Zone. I know it's really basic to mention this, but it is something that has to be mentioned. You could not get off the barrels. Oh my gosh, the constant spinning just made me mad. One thing I really like about this game is the power-ups. I mean the electricity, the fire, the bubble. They're all fun to use. A lot of people's least favorite thing about the classic Sonic games is the drowning underwater. And this game fixes it by the bubble. And you cannot tell me that Mecha Sonic Mark II is not sick. That design is awesome. So yeah, there's some more games down the line, so let's check them out. Continuing with Sonic 2. This is my favorite out of the mainline original 4. It introduces cool things like Super Sonic and the spin dash that I previously mentioned. Tails is also a really fun character to use. And if you and your siblings are ever arguing about who's better at Sonic, then just race them in the battle mode. The only takeaways I have from this game are sometimes the bosses can go from really easy to really hard. Such as the final boss where you have no rings and you have to fight the first Mecha Sonic and the Death Egg Robot. The levels in this game are iconic. Emerald Hill, which I know is almost the same thing as Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Xeno Knight, the list goes on. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about Sonic 2. Let's move on to another game that I haven't played but have done a lot of research on, and that is Sonic Rush. My favorite female character in all of Sonic is Blaze the Cat, and she originates from this game. This game was originally on the DS, and it's really good for the DS. I've heard things about the audio quality. It sounds better than an actual DS speaker. Coming from a DS speaker, which doesn't make any sense, but sounds awesome. It also introduces the boost mechanic, and does it in the best way possible. One of my favorite underrated Sonic characters is Marine, and she's from this game as well. Unfortunately, I was not able to get her in Sonic Dash. I really wish I did, though. This game carries on the legacy of the awesome artwork from the adventure games. And, speaking of, this game would be a lot higher on the list if it was on an actual console. Which I know it can't be because of the 2 DS screens that it uses, but a fan project called Sonic Rush 3D looks awesome. And I personally don't have a gaming PC, so I can't really play that, but I watched so many videos on it, and dude, it looks incredible. But moving on, and I know this sounds really bland, but it's the second game in the series, and that's Sonic Rush Adventure. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about this game in the first one, saying that the first one's better, but in my opinion, I've also never played this game before, but just as a bystander, this one looks more cool. 2 words, Sonic Jet Ski. Yes, Sonic can ride a jet ski. Look at this art right here. That looks so fun and amazing. The villains that are Captain Whisker and Johnny, their designs are so cool to me. And I really wish I had this game in real life. The next game after Sonic Rush Adventure is Sonic Superstars. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw this game, I was a little hesitant. We saw what 3D Sonic was like in Forces, and I didn't want to go back to that nightmare. But I believe that they fixed it. And they introduced a new character, Trip, which is so cool in the dragon form. They also brought back Fang, which is awesome. There was something really interesting about this game in my opinion, and that was with the final boss. You can beat this game in relative ease, and that final boss took me forever. I mean, first they beat you up with Fang, then they hit you with the super mega huge Death Egg Robot, and is swinging his hands and all that. That's just so annoying. But the next game, I feel like people went a little bit higher on the list, but I like where it's at. and that is Sonic Mania. Now, I got Sonic Mania for a deal because I bought it on the Nintendo Switch on Sonic's birthday, so I don't have the game in case, and I'm an in-case collector, and I wish I did, but I just didn't get it. I love how Christian Whitehead was able to bring some of the games to mobile, and he just made his own game using Sonic, and it is amazing. I want to give whoever created Studiopolis a big hug because that is so fun and awesome. And the music is a banger to listen to. I also love how it brought back some of my favorite characters, Fang, Bark, and Bean. Now after Mania, we're getting into some good games, starting with Sonic Adventure 2. Yes, I know that some of the hype from Sonic 3 is still lasting in August when this video's coming out, and I gotta say, it's a good game, don't get me wrong. Has awesome music, awesome boss fights, introduces my favorite character, but it's the Knuckles and Rouge levels. My first playthrough on the game, I got stuck on the last Rouge level, which is where you are finding pieces of the Master Emerald on the moon. Well, on a Eggman-made moon type thing. It's hard to explain, you just gotta play it for yourself. I spent 2 hours on that level, and I became so mad at it that I put the game down for about 4 months. And if memory serves me right, the only reason why I decided to come and play is because I had a good day at school and I thought I should just knock it out. The Tails at Eggman levels aren't really bad, but just really repetitive. I do really like the racing sections, those are so fun, and it's probably my favorite version of a battle mode in a Sonic game. But that's in the battle mode, and I said I was basing this off the original, which was the Dreamcast version, which did not have the battle mode. My next game is another one of those where it's only me gonna say this, and that is Sonic 06. Yes, I put Sonic 06 above Sonic Adventure 2. What? And it would be higher if it didn't have Elise, or if Eggman looked like that. Now don't get me wrong, I had my fair share of bugs while playing this game. Actually, I remember I have this fond memory of me and my friend Dylan, we always heard about how bad this game was, and then I actually got it, and we were at church, and I said, hey buddy, want to come over to my house and play this game? And he goes, yeah, sure, it'll be so funny. And we were playing the Silver Story, and he kept, like, glitching. Like, every time we would jump, he would, like, fall through the map. It was so funny. Like speed sections where you can't do anything and can't move is very annoying. You'd have a harder time moving Shadow's vehicles than giving a 3-year-old a Red Bull and then trying to get him to go to sleep. But when it comes to models, this is my favorite Sonic. I love how they were able to put the adventure style into the actual 3D render. The spikes are nice and long and exaggerated, which is probably my favorite design for Sonic. That's not just for Sonic, that's for everyone. Knuckles looks great, Shadow looks great, Silver, it's his first game, so he's gotta look good. And I can see where you say it's kind of like the 4th Harry Potter movie where everyone has long hair for no reason, but in this case, spikes. But I have to disagree. I think it looks awesome. But my next game is a game that I've changed my mind on, and that is Sonic Frontiers. Yes, I've made a video titled Sonic Frontiers is mid, and y'all gave me some hate for that claim. Now, I know after this video drops is gonna cause a absolute war in the comments. And if you want to disagree with me in the comments, I'm perfectly fine with that. But my mind has changed ever since I posted that video. If you remember, my old videos used to be formatted as Sonic Frontiers or Sonic Superstars or Sonic X Shadow Generations was playing and I would speak in the background. All the Frontiers clips that you saw was me revisiting that game and kind of liking it. I had to see the game in a new light, which is something that, I often do with Sonic games, such as 06. And yes, his model does not look good in my opinion. His spikes are too short and his shoes are too fat and he's too fat as, in Forces. But you kind of get over it. Another thing that I love are the bosses in this game. I do stand by the claim that he turns super too much and it kind of, renders it down. But the new form, Cybersonic, looks awesome. Supersonic 2. And I know that's not their official titles with what the fans call them. I didn't put this game higher at the list because a lot of people like it. I put it because my mind was actually changed. But my next game is Sonic Adventure 1. This game is awesome. And Open Your Heart is a better song than Live and Learn. And I can also fight you guys in the comments for that one. Chaos is such a cool villain. Sonic levels were one of the most fun I've ever had in Sonic games. And I know a lot of people say that the Amy portion is trash, but I disagree. It's pretty good. The Knuckles shard collecting is repetitive, but easier than the last game. And in recent times, I've actually seen a surge of people agree with me, saying that this game is better than SA2. The Tails levels were kind of fun, especially when you get to race Sonic as Tails and use different skips because you can fly. Speaking of skips, the skips in these games are so fun to perform, even on the GameCube. We are now in the final 3 of Sonic games, and these are bangers. Starting with number 3, Shadow Generations. I'm one of those people that believe that Sonic Generations was a bonus to this game. The only wrong thing I have to say with it is that it's too short. I know it's a really basic name for a villain, but Black Doom was so good in this game, and better than he was in the original Shadow game. I loved going around collecting all the music and the concept art, and, talking to people like Big, he came back, Orbot and Cubot, Maria and Gerald came back. But like I previously mentioned, it's just a little bit too short, and therefore I have not many things to talk about. And this video is getting kind of long, so let's just move on. And this game is definitely on everyone's top 3 Sonic lists, if you're a Sonic fan. I also have a video talking about why I love Sonic Unleashed, and do mention why I love that game so much, and it's a sentimental value. Me and my dad love playing video games together. One of the best memories I have with my dad, and yes, he's still alive, don't get me wrong, but, it's still a memory that I have with him, is playing video games with him. Lego Batman 2 is still one of my favorite games of all time. Used to, at Best Buy, they had a clearance section, and while we were there one fateful day, I saw the game sitting there. I got this game in 2014, and the game came out in 2008. I don't know why it was still at Best Buy, but it was, and it was like $5. We bought it, put it in, and bro, this almost brings me to tears. I remember seeing that opening cutscene. The ultimate CGI cutscene. If you remember early Sonic YouTube, you know the AMVs. I remember watching Monster by Skillet play while the Werehog is destroying everything. And I know that stuff seems corny now, but back in the day, that was awesome. But now it's time for number 1. My favorite Sonic game in the mainline continuity, and my favorite Sonic game of all time, is Sonic Generations. And I know I've told this story before on YouTube, I just can't remember which video, but I got this game for free, and because my neighbor, well, my old neighbor since I moved, so it's like 6:30 in the morning, I'm half awake, and I'm waiting for the bus. And this man comes up my driveway and says, "Hey man, I know you like Sonic." And I was like, "Sonic Generations, this is awesome." And he goes, "Man, I don't like the spikes. They keep killing me. Here, you have it." And I remember I rushed inside, put it on the TV stand, rushed back outside, and thought about that game the whole day at school. Sentimental stuff like that is awesome. And I know you're like, wait, you sentimental-wise, you put this game over Unleashed, some random neighbor kid over your dad? What? And that's not the case. Me personally, the Werehog stages are just a little bit too long. And that's stuff that I go into my Unleashed video. But I'm just saying, with Sonic Generations, gameplay-wise, is the most fun. Sonic's boost, in my opinion, is mastered perfectly. You also get the awesome drift and different stuff like that. I have this game for the Xbox 360, and that is the console that I'm using for the base of this, but I've heard that on the DS it's not as good, and it actually has other bosses. And yes, there are some differences between Sonic X Shadow Generations and Sonic Generations, but I believe that that game is just a remaster with a few added things, like lines of dialogue. And speaking of dialogue, and I hate to keep plugging other videos in, but I actually have a Sonic Generations dialogue comparison video on my channel if you want to go watch that one after you watch the Unleashed one. I'm just kidding. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm not going to force you guys to watch any other things. But everything in this game is perfect. Sonic's render, the music, the final battle. The final battle is not too hard and not too easy. It's just overall awesome and full of Sonic nostalgia and goodness. Except for Planet Wisp. Now, if you remember in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I have 2 announcements, and I'm going to start with that one first. And that is, school started back. And that means that I'm not going to post as much. I'm still going to post, and still going to try to get out long-form videos every Monday. But there's just not going to be as many shorts. 1, because not as many interesting things are going to happen, and 2, I'm probably just going to be tired out from the school day. So I hope you guys can understand that. And the second thing is an announcement for 2026. I mentioned a lot of videos that you guys could go back and watch from my channel, and these I don't want you to go back. But if you remember, I had an Oreo series. I decided to post every day until Oreo noticed me because I didn't get a Bowser Oreo. I stopped doing that because obviously Oreo is a big company and probably is not gonna ship little old me a cookie. But I did gain a lot of subscribers from that, and I'm so glad you guys are part of the family. If you guys subscribe because of the Oreo videos, I'd love it if you would comment down below to see who stayed from all that time ago. But I'm going to be doing something similar. In 2026, I will still be in school, but I want something so bad that I'm willing to do it no matter how hard my day at school is. And that is to go to the blue carpet of Sonic 4. So yes, I will be showing off a piece of Sonic merchandise every day in 2026. Well, probably not every day because I don't have 365 items, but I think the last census I took, I had like about 200 and something. So I'm going to do the math, see how many items I have, and that day in 2026, and of course I might get more stuff throughout the year, but that day in 2026, I will be posting a video to see if I can get Sega's attention and let them invite me to the blue carpet. I would be so amazed if they would let me do that. And I know it's just a silly little dream, but I'm still going to try. So that's pretty much it, guys. All of the mainline Sonic games ranked, in my opinion, from worst to best. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. What's your favorite Sonic game, and what's your least favorite Sonic game? I hope you really enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of a longer one. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this sort of nostalgia trip that I had making this video. And please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 610 subscribers. At the time of recording, I have 609. Just if one person could subscribe, I'd be very happy. Hey guys, it's Logan here in the future. Matter of fact, it's about almost midnight. I'm still editing this video a week later. I was yapping for actually an hour and 8 minutes. A lot of this video was cut out, so if you guys could really like and subscribe. We already have reached 610 subscribers, and I'm so appreciative of that. But in order for us to go to the blue carpet, I'm going to need a little bit more subscribers. So, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And always remember, Jesus loves you. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.